Hi, welcome to Jbrc Race Cars. My name is Steve Klostroff, and today I'm here with Mike Meyer, our shop foreman. I'm going to show you another product that we have for use in the trailer when the car is being traveling down the road mile after mile, track after track, and saving some wear and tear on the chassis and the shock absorbers.
And the front struts.
And the front struts. There you go. Jump in anytime, Mike. What I was going to show you here is most chassis are equipped with either a D-ring such like this. In this case here it is located on this chassis. And then tie down in the car, tie down would hook to that, pull the front of the car down. These can be used on front and rear. Generally the way our cars are tied down, pulling down in the front keeps the strut pulled in the downward position. But the rear of the car, the D-rings are generally welded off of the rear axle housing from ourselves and most builders, thus allowing the rear shocks to extend and compress while traveling down the road in the trailer. This is a chassis bladder that we came up with that fits under the rear cross member of the car. And Mike can do a demonstration here. In this case, we're just going to slide it into the front cross member of this car, because it's much easier shown obviously in the trailer than it is here on the shop floor.
And a lot of teams like front and rear stabilizers to save the front struts and the rear shocks from traveling up and down, going down the road.
Just basically a better way to protect the chassis, right, Mike? From
That's right.
fatigue.
So
there's the bladder. Was in a downward. Position. In the downward position, the bladder's about 1 3/4 inches tall, and generally we reflate to something like this. We try to bring it up to about an 8-inch height, and as you can see, it just started to relieve the front of the car, took the stress off the struts in this case and the front springs. And you would see that the same way in the trailer when activated under the rear cross member, as far as what it would do for the rear shocks and springs, and there again thus allowing the chassis to have a nice soft cushion ride as it's traveling down the road. Can't believe when we get to track years ago, hearing different racers say that they get under the car to take the tie downs loose and get it out from under the car, and they reached up there and were amazed at how warm the shock absorber were. Well, you can only imagine the cycles that those shocks are going through, extension and compression, traveling down the road in a race car trailer with our highways and roads versus at a racetrack running around on a smooth surface and then waiting to make the run. They probably do more cycling during the run than they would anywhere else in the pit area.
one other thing that's real important is when positioning these bladders, that you look underneath the chassis and make sure there's no bolts or anything sharp that could puncture a hole.
Yeah, very good point.
So same way at the rear, the Pro-Jack tabs is real important.
Yeah, the tabs that we showed you in earlier videos dealing with where our rear jack seats, that's a real good point, making sure that when the bladder's positioned there,
It's in the center of those tabs. So releasing it, it has a valve that you set to hold the pressure against it. To release it, you open the valve.
And the bladder itself comes with that valve, and it can be attached right to the bladder itself. In this case, we supply that hose lead on it, which makes it a lot more easy for a crew member or whatever to position it as low as these cars sit and kind of get out to the side of the race car when you got in the trailer.
Especially in the rear when you got to push it under the wheelie bars plus the rear tires. So you still have the...
Yeah, a couple other features with this particular product compared to some of the others out in the market. We molded a handle into this, makes it a lot easier for the crew member to pick up, drag throughout the pit area, carry it in and to and from the trailer. And then as we've showed you on other products, we work with Pit Pal products on making many different neat storage pieces for your trailer. This piece here was developed to mount onto the wall of the trailer. I'm just demonstrating it on the floor here. That would mount to the wall, and the trailer or the pouch itself would act as a real nice storage area to put the bladder into. And as always, if you ever have any questions, feel free to give us a call. We're always here to help you.